Welcome to Arts Roll Call, a podcast showcasing artists and arts organizations, highlighting the role of the arts today in Greater Lansing. I'm Robin Miner Swartz. I'm an editor, communications consultant, and a lifelong arts advocate. And today I'm talking with Michelle Detering. Michelle is a nature-inspired artist and illustrator from Lansing, Michigan. Her work offers a contemporary take on watercolor that resists the traditional restraints of the medium, emphasizing fluidity and flow. Through her art, Michelle strives to simplify the subject matter to capture its essence, which in turn helps the viewers see the subject in a new way. She hopes to inspire people through her art to see magic and beauty in nature. Michelle has created artwork for companies such as Minted, Medallis Winery, Andrews McMeel Publishing, and Meyer, and she's received numerous awards for her work. She's participated in group and solo shows throughout the Midwest and is collected by nature enthusiasts worldwide. Michelle, welcome to Arts Roll Call. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start by tell us a little bit about your life as an artist and a member of the Greater Lansing community.
Yes. Well, I was born in Lansing a long time ago. And so I'm a lifelong Lansing resident, and I've always been an artist. And I worked I had another job for about 20 years, and I kind of put art as a side hobby through those years as an adult. And then eventually my art business started to pick up and get fairly busy with commissions and different events. So I decided to leave my full-time job that I had that was not art related to do art full-time, which I've been doing now for about 10 years.
That's great. So I mentioned at the top you work in watercolors, but you also have some impressive photography skills. How long have you enjoyed working with a camera, and does that photography influence your painting or vice versa?
Yeah. Well, I took photography in high school. I think I worked a bit on the yearbook and that sort of thing. That's when we had when I used a dark room and that sort of,
Hmm.
the old school photography. Now, of course, I do digital, only, but, yeah, so I enjoy photography as well as painting. And, I used to do half of my art fairs being photography and the other half being watercolor, which is crazy because you can't do two mediums at a fair. You have to, when you do
Hmm.
art fairs in the summer, you have to do one medium. And so I would do half photography and half watercolor. And it just got to be a little bit too much and overwhelming. And I wanted to kind of focus in, and since they're fairly different from each other in the way that they look. So I decided to focus mostly on painting, and I still do photography a lot. I do photography almost every day, and I use my photographs for references for painting. So that's always helpful.
Hmm.
I also do some mixed media with the watercolor and photography, which is fun, and it's combining them both. So, I think when I'm painting, or if I get sort of in a rut with my painting, a lot of times I'll go out and take pictures, and it's kind of just it's more physical in a way because I'm out walking and doing things.
Hmm.
Um, and then it sometimes that will help inspire me with my painting. It's
Hmm.
just kind of a change of scenery, I guess, or different perspective. Yeah, so I enjoy both.
So when you've done that, are you then looking to replicate what you've photographed, or is it just more of a general inspiration?
Because I do animal paintings, and so
Hmm.
I do need reference photos since animals don't sit for you if you're trying to paint them.
Right.
They're not great at sitting still. I do use my photos a lot for references, but I am not a
Hmm.
photo. If you look at my watercolors, I'm not a photorealistic painter. There's a little bit of abstraction to the painting, so I kind of feel with photography, I'm capturing a moment in time or something that's happening. And then with my painting, I sort of transform it another to something else, where I'm trying to capture more of the essence of
Hmm.
something that I photographed, or that I saw. So trying to paint and change it a bit just so you're simplify it even more than it is with the photograph to
Hmm.
capture the spirit or essence of something.
It almost sounds like you're a human version of a filter between the two. mediums.
Yeah, there, that would be a good way to put it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned art festivals, and I understand you
Mhm.
are a frequent participant in art festivals. Can you talk about what that life is like and why you enjoy it?
Yeah. So art festivals, all during the summer, especially here in the Midwest, we really love our art festivals in
Mhm.
the Midwest, more so than I think in any other part of the country. But yeah, so we either, Ann Arbor Art Fair, East Lansing Art Fair, they're all over. And there's usually one or two going on every weekend over the summer months here in Michigan and surrounding states. And so with that, you travel, you set up a tent and you put out your art, and then people start to come in and they see you, you meet people, everyone's in the mood to like be happy and buy art and see what's happening around and see each other. So it's a very festive atmosphere, and it's a good place to get potential customers or meet people that you wouldn't, expand your audience, you wouldn't be able to
Mhm.
find without that venue. And I enjoy it. I enjoy, because being an artist is very solitary, at least a visual
Mhm.
like artist like I am. And so I have my animals, but not a lot of people around. So going to art fairs kind of gives me that a little bit more of that social. I like meeting the people who collect my art. I like connecting with people, meeting other artists. It's just nice to be out, and I like being outside. It's a good fit for me. It's not not every artist likes doing art fairs and dealing with people and the public and all the
Mhm.
good and bad that comes with that. You hear good things and you hear bad things. You hear everything
Mhm.
because that's how it goes.
Yeah.
But I personally enjoy it, and then I get to go back to my quiet week-long studio life, and then back on the road again for the weekend and my social part, and then
Recharge in between.
yeah, right, make
Well,
smart.
what are yeah. What are some of the challenges of the art festival scene? I mean, I would imagine weather is at the top of that list in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, but what are some other things that people don't think about?
Um, well, definitely weather, number one. I mean,
Mhm.
weather, because you just can't if there's a storm, and you pay for art fairs, and you pay for your booth, and you pay for all your materials, and you've done all the work for the art. And whether, if it's a bad storm or something, could have winds, lots of things could happen that could either damage your art or damage the crowds that end up
Mhm.
coming to a fair, and you're not getting refunded any of the money
Yeah.
that you put up front for that. So
Mhm.
that's one downside. But usually in a weekend, if there is some bad weather, it will clear out, and there's some good weather, and people fill in they come in and make up for the time that was lost with the weather. Usually that's what I've found. But
Yeah.
that's definitely something to consider, weather issues. Downsides also just being expensive and once you start doing the fairs, then
Mhm.
you start to make money, but initially it's an upfront cost of the material, the art fair
Yeah.
tents, the transportation to get to, you have to have a van, or well, at least I do because I do painting, so it's larger
Yeah.
pieces that won't fit into a car. So there's a lot of expense with startup, but
Mhm.
then and then the public, which I think is an awesome thing, but you also will hear people, people don't think that you're the artist. Sometimes you'll hear people talking about your art, and it
Yeah.
can be, most of the time it's good stuff, but you will hear, I mean, there's always a rude person somewhere, and you'll hear, so you kind of have to develop a little bit of a thick skin, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. So, which I would never have thought I would have been able to do. But I used to have, I laugh, I used to have a crying section in the back of my booth where I could go if I wasn't making, sales or whatever, or people said something
Mhm.
rude. But I don't need that anymore. I'm good. I've grown, and I'm able to handle what comes usually.
Well, speaking of challenges, I know you recently had the experience of discovering that you had had some of your work stolen.
Mhm.
And do you mind talking a little bit about that? What was that like?
Well, I've had this happen a couple times throughout now my art
Mhm.
career, where I've seen people like copying my work, where
Yeah.
someone points out this person's copying you, and I go look, and they've copied, but they've copied it.
Mhm.
So that's one thing. Usually, I've had everyone that I've ever caught doing that has pulled what they're doing.
Mhm.
Um, and apologized. And I tend to think that a lot of times when you're learning as an artist, you copy other
Mm,
artists, and so it's easy to do that. It's if you don't know that you're not supposed to do that. So I take it as a experience, educational experience. I can, teach somebody that's, you can copy people, but you shouldn't be selling it. That's not, we all have to copy to learn. That's
yeah,
how you learn. So people, you go to a museum and you'll see people sketching in the museums is because they're learning. So,
yeah.
and we can all learn. So, but yeah, you shouldn't be able to say it's your own and sell it. So,
Mhm.
but this was different in that I had actually an advertisement come up for a major company, and they were advertising a tablecloth and some items that had my one of my paintings on that
Mm,
thing that they were selling. And so anyway, so that was kind of, I had to like, wait, that's my, that's my art. Wait a minute, that's my art. So but there is something called a cease and desist letter
mhm.
that you can send that to a person or a company if they take your work, saying that they need to not do that, and they need to pull the product, pull the whatever, and or face further, I guess, litigation. I'm not a lawyer, but I did
Yeah.
find a friend of mine who is another artist in the Detroit area has had a lot of trouble with this with photography,
Mm,
with people stealing her work. And she gave me the name of a copyright attorney whom I've been using to follow up on this one incident.
mm,
So, and that's been very helpful because they know the law, and they know what to say, when I'm just an artist in Lansing. I don't know what to I don't a big company like that, what do you even say, or what
yeah.
do you do? And so that's been helpful, having a person who specializes just in copyright infringement.
Mhm.
He used to be an artist, and he's now a lawyer, and so he tries to help other artists who get their work stolen.
Well, it's good to have people like that in your orbit. I mean, we're all good at something, but we're not good at everything, and nor should
Right.
we be. So, yeah, I always say, as a small business owner, the best money I spend every year is to pay my accountant because that is not anything I am good at.
Yes. Accounting and law, those are
Yep,
two things that I would never, ever do in a million years be good at.
exactly. And I'm happy to pay someone with that expertise.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good.
Well,
That's
on the
good.
flip
There's all
side, I
different types of people in the world, right?
yes. Well, on the flip side of that, you've also had the experience of having your work purchased and featured in some really unique ways. So, what were some of those experiences like?
So yeah, in my art career, I've had opportunities to create wine labels, and which has been very cool to see your artwork on a wine label or a product. Also, at Meyer, I had it was through actually a contest that they had where they select artists, and then the artists were featured on products that they sold at Meyer. So I was able to participate in that, and I had some products there, which was cool. And I just finished illustrating a book for Andrews McNeil, which has been awesome too. That someone paid me to illustrate a book. That's crazy. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that. So there's been just various things like that throughout my art career, which has been great. And a lot of these opportunities that I've had have been actually through the Arts Council, them posting different things that were available and me applying for it. So
Mhm.
that's been great.
Well, and that was my next question is that you've been a longtime member of the Arts Council. How has that relationship been beneficial to you? In addition to getting access to these opportunities.
Yeah, I just think that it's a great way to connect to other artists, to find other artists in the area. The
Mhm.
I whenever when I first started, I'd have questions like, oh, I don't know if someone had asked me to illustrate something and I had no idea, and they connected me with another artist in the area who had a lot of illustration background, and that was helpful. So I just feel like they're friends. Like Dawn's a friend. I can ask if I have a question about something art related, in the community or business wise. So feel like it's a good resource to. I always tell people about the Arts Council. I always say it's a
Mhm.
great organization to join. It's just I've had billboards. 2 billboards through the Arts Council, and actually the first billboard that I had, that's kind of what started my whole full-time art career, because from that I started getting so busy with commissions and things that kind of started it all. So I can
That's
thank them for
great.
that. But yeah, and I have artwork on a bus right now through the Arts Council, and that's amazing too. So I just think it's a good organization. It's important to support and be a part of.
Mhm. Well, I understand you offer workshops, and I know you used to present some of those pretty regularly at the Lansing Art Gallery. What kind of workshops are you offering right now?
So, actually, I just finished teaching a workshop this past weekend in the Detroit area for a fiber guild, which was pretty cool. It was a kind of a private workshop for their members. So that was interesting. But for the local community, I am offering. I have a new workshop coming. That's it's a combination of flower arranging and painting the flowers, and
Oh.
it's in partnership with Where the Wild Things Bloom in Old
Mm.
Town Lansing and Odd Nod Art Supply. So for the cost of the workshop, you get a watercolor class on painting flowers. You get a floral arrangement taught by Where the Wild Things Bloom with a handmade ceramic vase, flowers,
Wow,
and then you get an art supply kit from Odd Nod with watercolor supplies. So it's very cool. So I'm excited about
that's
that. That's
great.
coming up May 2nd. So I think it's 2 weeks from Saturday. And
Mhm.
then I also have a painting birds workshop that I'll be doing online through Penn State School of Art.
Hmm.
No, Penn School of Art. Sorry, not Penn State. Penn School of Arts, which is will be on this fall. So, and it's a 4-week class. Yeah,
Nice. I bet
and
you
that's what
didn't
we have on
imagine
the
a
books
lot of
right
these
now.
things when you started doing art full time.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
I bet you didn't imagine a lot of these opportunities when you moved into making art full time.
Right. Yeah, I would never imagine I would be where I'm at now,
Hmm.
where I was 10 years ago. You just got to you just got to go and keep going. And, I just think don't give up when I paint every day, even if I'm having a bad day, I paint. I just keep going, right? You got to keep going through it. So even if there are
Yep.
bumpy parts, I just think that there's beauty in and there's magic in showing up every
Hmm.
day. Um, Even if you don't feel like it, even if it feels like you're not going anywhere. Most people quit right before they succeed. So I just
Yeah.
think you got it. That's part of why I've been successful as an artist is that it's hard to get me to go away. I just keep going. I just keep trying.
That
Oh, and
that's a great personality trait.
yeah. So yeah.
So with the weather warming up, what is your art fair calendar looking like for the summer? Where will people see you out and about?
So my first art fair this year is going to be East Lansing, which is in downtown East Lansing, which is
Hmm.
a great art fair. If you haven't been to it, it's a very good quality juried art fair. And
Hmm.
then, so that's my first one this year, and I have a whole schedule on my website where you can see where I'll be. I'm actually doing some shows in Indiana and Illinois this year. So I'll be moving around, but then at least 6 or 7 here in the States. So I've got a busy summer.
That's great. Well, so
Yeah.
speaking of your website, where can folks find you online?
Yes. Well, MichelleDeteringArt.com
Okay,
has connections to all my social media, Instagram, Facebook, my Etsy shop, which I have an Etsy shop. All my art fair schedule, teaching schedule, all that good stuff is there on the website.
great. Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Michelle. I really learned, I loved learning about your history as an artist, but also just hearing your perspective about interacting with the public versus making time for yourself to make that art. That's a good
Right.
balance.
I think so. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you. This podcast has been a production of the Arts Council of Greater Lansing. To learn more about them, go to lansingarts.org.